everyone, this is Joe Kissinger. I'm a third grade teacher at the Syracuse Academy of Science and Citizenship in Syracuse, New York. Today we're going to continue our unit on place value. And today we're going to move on from using place value to add and subtract onto using place value to multiply. There's a little trick I wanted to show everybody before we get started because we're going to be using this skill throughout the lesson. And it's a trick for multiplying by 10. When we multiply by 10, any number times 10 or 10 times any number, we just add a 0 onto the end of the number that we're multiplying by 10. So we have 10 times 4 is 40. So we have a 4, we just add a 0 on the end. 10 times 12 is 120. We have a 12, we just add a 0 at the end of the end. And it even works with even bigger numbers. Like if we do 10 times 167, it's 1,670. We have 167, we add a 0 on to the end of it. So anytime we multiply by 10, we just add a 0 on the end and we have our number. So that should help us throughout the lesson as we are multiplying by tens. All right, so let's get started. So this is in lesson 6, you learned multiplication facts. In this lesson, you will learn how to use the facts to help you multiply one-digit numbers by multiples of 10. Take a look at this problem. So here are 4 stacks of books on a table. Each stack has 20 books. How many books are there in all? So first we have to look how many books are there in each stack. Well, it told us we have 20, each stack has 20 books, so we know that that number will be 20. And how many tens are in 20? So we know there's 20 in this stack. We have 10 here, and then we have another 10 here. We have 2 tens in each 20. So we will put 2 there. How many groups of 2 tens are there in all the stacks? So a group of 2 tens is one stack. So in all the stacks, how many groups of 2 tens are there? So we have one group of 2 tens here, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 groups of 2 tens in all the stacks. So how can we find how many tens there are in all? Well, if we know that there's 2 tens in 20, and there's how many groups of 10? There's 4 groups of 2 tens in each, in all of the stacks. Then what we can do is we can multiply 4 times 2, and we'll find our answer. So we have 4 stacks times 2 groups of 10 in each stack. 4 groups of 2 is 8. So another way we can find this is find the answer to this is by skip counting. If we wanted to find the total number of books, we can count by tens. So if we know there's 2 tens in each one of these stacks, we can say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and we can get 80 books all together. Or we can count by 20s, and counting by 20s is just like counting by 2s, except we're going to add a 0 to the end of every number that we count by. So we would go, instead of 2, 4, 6, 8, we would say 20, 40, 60, 80. So we still get 80 books. We get the same answer. We can skip count by 10s or by 20s. Remember, skip counting is just counting by any number higher than 1. All right, so let's take a look at our next page here. Multiplication is used to find the total when there are 2 or more groups with the same number in each group. You have learned some multiplication facts. These facts can help you multiply by tens. The 4 stacks of 20 books can be shown using base 10 models. You can also show this with the multiplication expression 4 times 20. You can skip count equal groups of 10 or 20 to find the product. So skip count by 10 8 times, or you can skip count by 20 4 times. You can also count by groups of 10 to multiply. Count on count on by groups of 2 tens 4 times to find 4 times 20. 2 tens, 4 tens, 6 tens, 8 tens. 8 tens is 80. These two ways to find a product work well when the numbers are not too large. But when you're looking for the product of 8 times 80, skip counting and counting on would take time and might be hard to track. This lesson will show you some quicker ways to multiply by 10. All right. So let's look at this problem. A sports store orders 4 boxes of baseball caps. Each box has 40 caps. How many baseball caps are there in all 4 boxes? So we look at our base 10 blocks here. We have 4 boxes of baseball caps. Each one of these is a box of baseball caps. And then there's 40 caps in each box. 4 groups of 4 tens. 4 times 4 is 16 tens. 16 tens is 160. You can also use factors to group and grouping to multiply by tens. Start with the factors for the problem. 4 times 40. You can write 40 as 4 times 10. So we have 4 times 4 times 10. Then you change the grouping when you multiply. So we can take 4 times 4, we know is 16 times 10. And then 16 tens is 160. So first we can break apart 16 into 10 plus another number. Write the number in the blank. So when we go to solve our problem here, 16 is 10 plus another number. 16 is 10 plus what? What can we add to 10 to make 16? 6. 6 plus 10 is 16, or 10 plus 6 is 16. So now we have 16 times 10 equals 10 plus 6 times 10. You can multiply both numbers in the parentheses in problem 2 by 10. Write these numbers in the blanks. So we have 10 times 10 from our previous step. And then we have 6 times 10, also from our previous step. So what's 10 times 10? And we can use our trick for multiplying by tens. 10 times 10, take 10 and add a 0 to the end of it. 10, and then we add another 0, we have 100. What is 6 times 10? Take 6 and add a 0 right to the end of it. 6, 60. All right. And then we're going to add the products and write the sum in the blank. So it's 100 plus 60. $160. So this is a lower multiplication equation that you know or you have found products for in this lesson. Explain how to find products for a given number and a multiple of 10. So when we want to find the product of a given number and a multiple of 10, we can take our product and or if we take our number that we want to multiply by 10 and we just add a 0 to the end of it. So I want you to try these two on your own, number 7 and number 8. Give the video a pause if you have to. I assume you probably will. And grab a separate sheet of paper and a pen, or a pencil, I mean. Make sure when we're in math, we're always using a pencil. And try those out on your own. And then when you're ready, resume the video and we'll go over them. All right. Let's get started on our answers here. So we have 60 times 8 is our first one. So we have 60 times 8. Let's turn our 60 into 10 times 6. Let's make this a little bigger so we can see. All right, 10 times 6 times 8. Now, instead of doing the 10 times 6 first, because we know that's going to be 60, let's do 6 times 8. So you can do that in a number of ways. You could make an array. You could draw out 6 groups of 8 or 8 groups of 6. You might just know from your times tables what 6 times 8 is. But when we multiply 6 times 8, we should have gotten 48. And then when we multiply that 48 in these parentheses, so we'll put some parentheses around that so we know we did that first. 6 times 8 is 48, and then we multiply by 10. What do we do when we multiply by 10? We add a 0 to the end, and we should have got 480. So we put 480, and then we have 30 times 7. So we'll do the same thing here for 30 times 7. We'll do 10 times 3 times 7. And then 3 times 7, again, we can do 3 times 7 a number of different ways. We should have gotten 21 for 3 times 7. And then when we multiply by 10, we add a 0, and we have 210. All right. So what we should have taken away from this lesson is that anytime we multiply by 10, we can add a 0 to the end. We also can look at numbers that have zeros on the end, and we can express that number as the number without the 0 times 10. So, for example, if we look at the 60, we could look at that number as a 0 at the end. We could look at it as 6 times 10. So we can expand that number out to make it easier to work with for us when we're solving problems with bigger numbers. When we anytime we multiply by 10, though, we're gonna add on a 0. That we're gonna wrap up the lesson there. Hopefully, we have a little bit better of an understanding of how to multiply by 10 now. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and an awesome weekend. Thank you, and see you next time.